As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than
listen to everybody, but you believe all proof.
Believe the facts.
This video is proof.
Oh, hands down.
Oh my God, you won't believe what happened in that courtroom. Diddy Combs, yes, the Diddy, looked absolutely unrecognizable as he shuffled into that New York courtroom. I mean, this is the man who once ruled the music world, who commanded stages and red carpets like a king. But now, my goodness, he was a shell of his former self. His prison jumpsuit was hanging off him, and that scruffy gray beard, it aged him a decade. The mighty have truly fallen, and you could feel the shock rippling through the courtroom. Gone was that polished, powerful Bad Boy Records mastermind we all knew. Instead, there stood a man completely weathered by months behind bars. The contrast was just heartbreaking to witness.
Today, just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
The courtroom was absolutely packed with onlookers. His mother Janice was there, looking so worried, and his children too, all trying to stay strong, but you could see the pain in their eyes. When Diddy walked in, he gave them this faint smile and blew a two-handed kiss that just tugged at everyone's heartstrings. Such a tender moment in such a terrible situation.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
The courtroom absolutely erupted in whispers when the new claims started coming out. It's not just about personal relationships anymore. Now we're talking about alleged coercion and exploitation within his professional empire. According to prosecutors, employees under Diddy's command were subjected to extreme working conditions. We're talking endless hours in an atmosphere of pure intimidation. And it gets worse. There are suggestions that some staff were pressured into doing things way beyond their job descriptions. Can you imagine? As these charges were read aloud, you could hear a pin drop. Diddy just stood there, completely still, his face giving nothing away. But inside, you just know he must have been falling apart.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
And honey, that's not even the half of it. Remember that viral surveillance video from earlier this year? The one from 2016 showing what looked like Diddy in a heated altercation with Cassie Ventura in that LA hotel hallway? The footage where he's seen chasing after her, grabbing her, getting physical? That video exploded online, causing absolute outrage and shining a spotlight on the power dynamics in celebrity relationships. But here's where it gets wild. Diddy's legal team is now challenging the video's authenticity. Talk about a media frenzy. His lawyers are claiming the footage was tampered with, that it was digitally altered to make the sequence misleading and exaggerate how aggressive the altercation actually was. They're even suggesting the original surveillance tape was destroyed, leaving only this supposedly edited version as evidence. This is not an accurate representation of what transpired, Diddy's lead attorney Mark Agnifilo declared to reporters. We have reason to believe this footage has been manipulated for sensationalism, and we intend to prove that in court. The network that aired the footage immediately fired back, insisting the video was authentic. There is no evidence to suggest any alteration, their spokesperson stated firmly. We stand by the integrity of our reporting. Meanwhile, Cassie's legal team is having none of this. They're calling it a desperate attempt to discredit damning evidence. It's not surprising that Mr. Combs would try to exclude this video, her attorney Douglas Wigdor said, but the truth cannot be edited, and the video speaks for itself. The tension is absolutely palpable.
A U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
The courtroom scene was just surreal. On one side sat Diddy, once revered for his genius and cultural influence, now desperately defending his character against a tsunami of accusations. On the other side, a growing chorus of voices demanding accountability. each allegation painting an increasingly grim portrait of the mogul's private life. And hanging over everything was that infamous video. Would it be admitted as evidence? Would it sway the jury? These questions loomed heavily over the proceedings, leaving everyone speculating about what might happen next. The drama is just getting started, and it's already more intense than anything Hollywood could script.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there,
Despite everything crashing down around him, Diddy's courtroom demeanor remained eerily composed. At one point, he leaned over to whisper to his attorneys, shaking his head in what looked like pure frustration. When the judge asked if he understood the charges, he responded with a firm, "Yes, I do, sir." But don't let that calm exterior fool you. Those close to the situation reveal he's a man under immense pressure. Sources within Diddy's camp say he's been struggling terribly to adapt to life behind bars, where he's been held without bail since his arrest. The court has denied him bail 3 times. 3! With prosecutors worried he might tamper with witnesses if released. Can you imagine what that must be doing to someone who's lived like royalty for decades?
some people do think that Diddy can help him, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a marshal's inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week.
And yet, even as he battles allegations that could send him to prison for decades, Diddy somehow maintains that signature bravado that made him a cultural icon. During the hearing, he occasionally glanced toward his family, giving them reassuring nods as if to say, "Don't worry, I've got this," even as the walls are clearly closing in around him. For his loyal supporters, it was a reminder of the resilience that propelled him to the top of the music industry. For his critics, just more hubris that they believe led to his downfall. As the hearing ended, the judge dropped a bombshell. Jury selection for Diddy's trial will begin in early May, with opening statements scheduled for later that month. This marks the beginning of what's bound to be one of the most closely watched trials in recent memory. Outside the courthouse, it was absolute chaos as reporters swarmed both sides. Prosecutors expressed confidence that the trial would bring long overdue accountability, while Diddy's attorneys vowed to dismantle what they called a smear campaign against their client. The battle lines are clearly drawn.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
The public's obsession with this case is reaching fever pitch. Social media is flooded with opinions, memes, and heated debates about the allegations. Some are rallying behind Cassie and the other accusers, praising their bravery in coming forward. Others are questioning the timing and motives, suggesting Diddy is being unfairly targeted just because of his wealth and influence. These divided reactions highlight the broader cultural conversations about power, accountability, and justice that this case has thrust into the spotlight. Everyone has an opinion, and no one is holding back.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in the jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
In a world where celebrity scandals come and go, the saga of Diddy Combs stands out not just for its shocking details, but for the profound questions it raises about fame and responsibility. As the trial approaches, one thing is crystal clear: this story is far from over. With each new development, the stakes grow higher, and the spotlight on Diddy burns brighter. This wasn't just about personal relationships anymore. These claims reached into the very foundation of his business operations, suggesting a culture of control and fear within his entire enterprise. Even longtime followers of his career were left absolutely stunned by these revelations.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
The new allegations focused on claims of exploitation that will make your jaw drop. According to court documents, employees under Diddy's leadership allegedly endured extreme working conditions, endless hours, minimal rest, and a constant atmosphere of intimidation. It painted an absolutely horrifying picture of life within his empire. Prosecutors argue these weren't isolated incidents, but part of a larger pattern designed to maintain control and silence any dissent. One former employee, whose identity was kept anonymous for safety reasons, described the environment as a high-stakes pressure cooker, where fear was the currency.
I believe that it opens yourself up to some negligence claims. Again, I don't know if Jay-Z is going to go that far, but certainly I think it does open himself up to some negligence claims. Maybe that was part of the reason why he dismissed with prejudice. I don't know.
A former associate of Diddy came forward anonymously to share their experience, and it's absolutely chilling. They described working under the mogul as both inspiring and deeply unsettling. There was no denying his genius, they admitted, but there was also no denying the fear. You didn't want to make a mistake around him, not because it was a bad look, but because you didn't know how he'd react. It was like walking on eggshells every single day. This is a man who has built an empire, Agnifilo stated passionately. People are taking advantage of the moment to rewrite history and tarnish his legacy. He argued that many claims lacked credible evidence and were being used as tools to manipulate public perception against his client.
It's filed by a man from California who claims Sean Combs raped him in 2009.
Public opinion is already spiraling completely out of control, and the media is having an absolute field day. Headlines are screaming about the latest revelations. Social media is a battlefield of debates, with the court of public opinion reaching its own verdict long before the trial even begins. Hashtags related to the case have been trending for days, with users deeply divided between those standing by Diddy and those condemning him. Some see the allegations as part of a broader cultural reckoning, while others view them as a targeted campaign to bring down a powerful figure. The online world is exploding with takes.
She walked away, got no money, got nothing. Over. And Jay-Z celebrated that, the fact that, we should say, and it was filed by the lawyer who has filed a slew of lawsuits.
The controversy around that surveillance footage has only added to the absolute chaos. While Diddy's team maintains the video was altered, critics are asking why he hasn't addressed the incident more directly. His apology, issued shortly after the footage went viral, struck some as sincere, but left others questioning its timing and intent. "I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I was disgusted then. I'm disgusted now," Diddy had said in his video statement. But for many, the apology raised more questions than it answered. If he was admitting fault for the incident, what did that mean for the broader allegations against him? Cassie Ventura's legal team, led by Douglas Wigdor, wasn't holding anything back. They viewed the video as a crucial piece of evidence that underscored a pattern of behavior they believed would be central to the trial. "The video speaks for itself," Wigdor stated firmly. "It's a disturbing reminder of the power dynamics at play and the courage it takes for victims to come forward." He dismissed the defense's claims of tampering as a desperate attempt to avoid accountability. "This isn't about editing or sequencing," Wigdor continued passionately. "This is about the truth." As tensions escalated, the courtroom drama began to intersect with broader cultural conversations taking place outside its walls. The case became a lightning rod for debates about power, privilege, and accountability in the entertainment industry. Advocates for workplace reform seized on the allegations to highlight the need for greater protections for employees, particularly in industries where power dynamics are so starkly imbalanced. Meanwhile, Diddy's defenders pointed to the lack of criminal charges related to some claims, arguing the case was being blown completely out of proportion.
It could be a disagreement regarding defense strategy. It could be a conflict. It could be a health issue. It really could be anything. And the paperwork doesn't identify it, nor should it. And the fact that Mark Agnifilo is still on the case and the other counsel of record leads me to believe that the judge is going to rubber stamp this motion and grant it.
Behind the scenes, both legal teams are gearing up for what promises to be a fiercely contested trial. Prosecutors hinted they have more evidence to present, including testimonies from individuals who haven't yet come forward publicly. Meanwhile, Diddy's defense team is reportedly preparing to call on a roster of character witnesses, including former employees willing to testify to his generosity and leadership. Agnifilo stated in a recent interview that Diddy was a man who had given back to his community time and again, and was not the monster people were trying to make him out to be. But even as the legal battle intensifies, the personal toll of the case is becoming increasingly evident. Sources close to Diddy describe him as deeply shaken by the allegations and the relentless media scrutiny. He's trying to stay strong for his family, but this is taking a huge toll on him, one insider revealed. He feels like the world is turning against him. Despite his attempts to maintain a public image of confidence, those who know him best say the cracks are beginning to show.
Obviously, there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously, a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented.
Meanwhile, Cassie's camp remains absolutely resolute. For her, this isn't just about seeking justice for herself, but about shining a light on the broader issues at play. A source close to her said that this is bigger than one person and is about accountability and making sure that no one else has to go through what she went through. Cassie herself has largely stayed out of the public eye since the case began, focusing instead on her personal well-being and her family. But her silence hasn't diminished her presence in the case. If anything, it's amplified the weight of her accusations. As the trial date approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher for Diddy. The outcome will determine not just his legal future, but his entire legacy. For Cassie and the other accusers, it's a chance to finally have their voices heard. And for the public, it's a moment of reckoning that forces a closer look at the dynamics of power and justice in the entertainment world. The question on everyone's mind is simple yet profound. Who will the jury believe?
I think it has to be the defense, the consent, because look, sometimes you can argue that the activity never happened, right? You know, it wasn't me, defense. But this is not your typical assault case. There are a lot of people there, right? There are people that are arranging the workers. There are people that are setting up lights and cameras, booking hotel rooms. Obviously, Diddy has a large entourage.
The courtroom battles may be confined to a single venue, but their impact is being felt far and wide. From boardrooms to social media feeds, this case is sparking conversations that extend way beyond the allegations themselves. It's a story that touches on themes of power, privilege, and accountability. Issues that resonate deeply in an era where the lines between public and private life are increasingly blurred. As the trial of Diddy Combs unfolds, the questions surrounding his actions and the authenticity of the evidence grow more complex. Do you believe the surveillance footage was altered, or is it a genuine reflection of the events? How do you think the allegations of workplace exploitation will impact the trial's outcome? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this developing story. Until next time, stay tuned.